Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the week of, I have no clue what week I'm even in. The week of the 10th, August 10th, there you go. Um, so, let's see here. Yeah, but, this week, Scorpio has had a very, similar message, to say the least, when it comes to, the weeklies. I mean, last week was a little bit more, I don't know, love heavy. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it, but this week is it's not really different. You have the Two of Clubs coming up first, which you Scorpio, it makes sense that you get a lot of clubs cards. Clubs are all about your mind, intuition, using your mind, using your intuition, all of these things, how we, experience the world and in general. It's all about this card. I always hesitate to say, but I mean, really, this card is all about realizing that everything that happens, outside of us, everything out here, it doesn't really exist. I mean, the only place we perceive everything is inside of our brain. And it says to use that as as an advantage. So I know that's like kind of like out there and pretty freaking crazy, but that's what it's all about. It's like if you want success, it says that you need to get better at manipulating everything outside of you. You need to overcome your fears and realize that everything, it only happens in your brain. Once you kind of make that that connection, and then you start to just allow things to happen. And again, I mean, this isn't everything. This has to do with everything in your life. It's a clubs card. It pretty much has to do with love, money, spirituality, just the list goes on and on. It has to do with everything in your life. So, the more you let go, the more you allow things to happen, which I guess, Scorpio, I guess it's hard for Scorpio to let go in a lot of ways. I think a lot of Scorpios maybe have a problem with that. I mean, I've experienced a lot of Scorpios in my life, and I can't say that that's always true, but sometimes I guess Scorpio can latch on to things. But this card also says, it's a card of it is a card of the entertainer, of being entertaining. It asks you to be more entertaining in the way that you do things. It's a very weird card, I will say that. It's I always say it's like the second most rare card that ever shows up in readings. It almost never shows up. This card and the Eight of Clubs are the two cards that almost never show up. But it's about being a little bit more outgoing. Maybe you've had ideas of how to accomplish things, but maybe they seem a little bit too out there for you. And it just says, no, go for it. It's kind of like one of those cards. Cards all over the place, I know, but getting a bunch of different things on it. So I'm just going to go with it. But I think what's important is that you realize, you step back and you realize everything only happens, in between your ears, basically. And that's the only place you really experience things. Everything out here, you could even say that it's fake. It doesn't even exist, maybe. It's all just a simulation, and you can control that, and that's what this card says. So I hope that doesn't freak a lot of you out. But King of Spades coming up next, another great card. This is actually a great card to get because it represents having been through a lot of stuff, having gone through a lot of experiences, again, with everything, relationships, money. I know Scorpio is really heavy on the relationships. You guys tell me that like every single week, so it has a lot to do with that. Water signs in general, relationships have been crazy for the last 8 years. So, it's all about using past tools. This guy, he's been through a battle, and again, I don't attach sex to my card, so it doesn't matter if you're male or female, but I'm referring to the guy on the card, but you can see he looks like a general who's just come back from the army, and he's got like all these medals on his chest. That's what he does to be successful. He uses all his medals, and what you could consider your tools, as learning experiences to be successful in your life today. That's what the card asks you to do. He also has a sense of calm, like a calmness about him. And, he applies that to everything that he does. It's like, maybe in the past he's overreacted in situations, become too emotional, too attached to situations, freaked out, and, had like extremes. But now he's like developed this sense of calm, and people notice it now. And, I think you can experience that in your own life, like this sense of being calm and things like that. Next, you have the Six of Clubs coming in, which is a card of success. It literally only has one meaning, and that is success, being successful. It's a growth card. It's a harvest card. You can even see that they almost look like little plants in a row on the card. So it's all about harvesting things. I think Scorpio is one of the few signs that has had 2 cycles over the past 8 years. I have this theory, if you watch any of my other videos going on about how we've been through the cycle for the past 8 years of all these changing energies and things like that going on. Scorpio's had another one, and it's been for about the past 2-3 years, probably more like 2 years. So if you think back 2 years ago, energy changed for Scorpio big time, and maybe you stepped out into something that you were a little bit hesitant to do, or you've been trying to do something. Could be business related, could be relationship related, could be anything. Like I said, could be anything, any projects that you're working on, things like that. And you've probably been doing it over the past 2 years. I would say 2 years feels about right. And this card says that you are reaching success. You're starting to get there. It was probably really slow to start. Probably seemed like a real challenge. Wasn't going to get there. But again, with this card, battle, been through the battle, card meaning success, take advantage of that. It's a karmic balancing card as well. So, like I said, for those of you wanting relationships and things like that, it does and not even just relationships, but anything. Sixes are all about things balancing out, things working more in your favor, energy returning to you, energy that you've been putting out. Can be a little bit challenging sometimes. It can be like there can be strings attached to this card. So if you've been hoping for a business to work out, you might have to take some extra steps. And the Two of Clubs also says that, which was your first card, that you maybe have to take some extra steps. If it's a relationship, there might be some strings attached. Might be maybe your family doesn't approve, or maybe it's just your times don't match up, so it's hard for you to one person works here, one person works there, and it's all over the place. Or even long distance or things like that. So there's always strings attached, but it's always successful. That's the thing with this card. And again, even if this is in business, there's always strings attached because of the two of clubs. Always strings attached, but always, if you just go for it and you just do it, let go of those fears, you'll be very successful. And you do have the Eight of Spades coming up last. Eight of Spades is about fear as well, letting go of fears. I always call this card 7 Deadly Sins as well, because it can indicate being a little bit too greedy this week. Maybe, and greed isn't, it's not even the right word, but, it can be the card of drinking too much and things like that. So it's not even a big deal. And it's another card of it's a card that says, if you are, for you relationship Scorpios out there, if you're looking for a relationship, it can say that sometimes what the problem is priorities. It's maybe you do want a relationship, but maybe you like to work and you're a workaholic and you work 60 hours a week. And it's where do you find the balance? That's what this card asks you. Where are you going to find that balance? And, that's what your week is all about. Very successful. I think it just asks you to work very hard this week and to just allow things to happen, overcome your fears. Like I said, the strings attached thing with everything in your life. Just overcome those obstacles. Just go for it. Do it. I feel like Scorpios can be very adventurous this week. I think a lot of Scorpios can be very adventurous. So it says, show that adventurous side, do it, and you'll reach a lot of success. So thank you for watching this video.